Hello, and welcome to Victoria 3. There has been a huge patch, 1.5, which changed a ton of the economy and reworked a ton of the war mechanics in Victoria 3. And I have found what I think would be a really fun short campaign to really show off what it's all about. So Victoria 3, what I love the most about it is not playing as some of the big nations of Austria, Prussia, Great Britain, what have you. I like playing minor nations or nations that are kind of unrecognized tribes and bringing them forward in through rapid industrialization and making them like a regional or great power of their own right. Here in Ethiopia, there's kind of a fun thing going on where if you play as one of these princes, you can look at the journal entry. And there's no journal entry, it says, because I haven't let a day go by. But let's let a week go by here, and it should show up. Journal. The Age of Princes. Ethiopia has been shattered into a dozen warring fiefdoms. It is up to us to reunify the empire and restore peace. So that gives us a unique, instead of just conquering Ethiopia as a war goal, all the Ethiopian states against each other have unify Ethiopia, which is a fun war mechanic, which is pretty interesting in this space because playing as who we are, Benjamin here in this top right left corner, we have 14 battalions versus like 15, 16, 26, 15. Like we are kind of middle of the pack. It's a battle royale Thunderdome in here, and it's really interesting. In terms of politics, not only are we like an absolute principality, so a government that is a monarch autocracy, but we don't even have the technology to propose new laws. We're isolated, so we can't trade. We don't have like home affairs. We don't have education, right? We are a backwater. So the way to do this is to get yourself just like a moment of quick industrialization that we're going to show off here. And then really quickly, we need to go to the military track and invent line infantry. We gotta catch up with Napoleon, all right? Napoleon style tactics, 10, 20 years after the fact. We also get to play with the new mechanics here, right? If we go to our army, we can see it's made up of irregular infantry and cavalry here, hussars. And what we can do now is recruit these new battalions, right? And as we develop newer technologies, change the makeup of our army. And then we're going to have to industrialize to give them guns, ammunition. And to do that, we actually have to conquer more land to get access to those resources. So it's a really interesting run as Ethiopia. We're going to play at least to the unification of Ethiopia, but I'd like to engage in some light colonialism, I'll say, to get access to fun resources like coal and sulfur to really push our military might into the stratosphere. Hopefully one day we can fight Egypt. That is like, if this campaign goes right, we'll do that. But the great powers like to interfere and mess with that. So let's kind of jump in to what's going on here. We are an economy of like nothing. We're one little piece of a state, right? We have a couple of building slots, no urban center, a couple of barracks. That's basically it. The first thing we're going to do is actually spend our money getting a logging camp built, because we are going to need lumber to actually construct with our buildings. If you're not familiar with Victoria, I don't even know how I show this off because I don't even have multiple production methods for construction. But basically, this is going to consume a whole bunch of lumber, and very quickly, I'm sure this is going to give me a warning, basically saying, yo, in your market, lumber is going to become extremely expensive because very little is being made as a surplus from peasants. So we're going to jumpstart our lumber economy. We're going to jumpstart our tool economy and just get those basics, tools and wood. And then we're going to pivot real hard, and we're going to go into making as many weapons as we can to create line infantry, because line infantry needs guns. We need to make guns. After getting guns, we can build artillery. And then once we have true rifles and true artillery, we should be able to dominate our neighbors. But first, let's just pick here and go to steelworking. Also, one thing I do want to mention, in the short term, like, we are going to need to do some industrialization and automation, because we won't have enough peasants or people to do all the jobs that we're going to want to do. But we're also going to want to chase after colonialism, and we're going to try and colonize into Africa. I want to make like the East Africa Empire as Ethiopia here. So there we go. We're making some wood. We are researching our way into getting some tools. I'm going to cut away, and I'll come back when the next interesting thing starts. All right, we got our first event. The Outlaw Prince. One of the people has risen up in our land and is actually going to depose our unpopular prince, it is. So, Tuaredos, I can't see who he is, but he's going to appear. We can send him away, but that'll make our pops outlaws, and I'm not loving our unpopular traditionalist king. So let's let the new king come in. And now we have Tuaredos. He's a royalist. So he is real. So if we ever had a chance at changing our laws away from monarchism, we didn't get it. This guy is super into the principality. He's romantic, so that's not really great. As a ruler, aristocrats are getting even more political strength and expert offensive planner. So as a leader, he could do well, but I don't know. His heir apparent is reserved, which is less interesting. So anyways, basically this just solidified the fact that we are not going to be able to push much social change. If ever there is a movement for a social change, what I would love is for one of the minor factions to rise up and push for that. And then we might be able to try and pass laws that force the landowners to revolt. And if we can beat them in a revolution, we can force more forward-thinking leadership to take over the country and push a couple of interesting laws. So something to keep in mind, but for now, we have a new leader that is staunchly royalist traditionalist. Okay. And one more thing I meant to mention here is that we don't even have centralism to run road maintenance as a decree that normally makes your construction more efficient and everything else. So for now, all we're going to do is encourage resource industry to make sure as much wood cutting gets done. This is going to give us a 20% bonus to logging industry, and we're going to promote social mobility to make it so that folks have access to education so that they learn more. And they are able to take on these new jobs as laborers, because right now they're just peasants. So actually stepping into a labor role is good. And the higher our general technology is, the more technology spread we get. So here you can see on average we're getting 21 points of tech spread in all three categories, I'm pretty sure. So if I scroll in here, 10 to 31 in academia, I go to military, and I'm getting dry docks, boo, unlucky. And I'm actually, looks like, getting help on what I want over here, which is steelworking. So weekly innovation is going to be difficult for us to push up as a poor backwater country, but a little bit of literacy can leave us getting some trickle down education basically from the masses. So something that we're going to be looking to push. Our lumber mill is now up and running, and you can see it is hiring people very, very quickly, because as we do construction, there is a huge need for lumber. So it is flowing in like crazy. These people have a huge wage, which allows, or a huge profit, which allows them to pay for wages very, effectively. And even for slaves, which, look, I'm not glad that we have slaves, but that just is what it is for us right now. Can I scroll down and see the proportion of slaves? Mostly slaves, but there are 500 shopkeepers. So the 500 shopkeepers get paid almost triple what the slaves are getting, it would seem. Either way, we are starting to get our wood up and running. We're going to build another round of wood, and then we'll go for those basic tools. Okay, so speaking of slavery, we're having an insurrection. There's some slaves that are, rising up, and basically negotiate with the revolt's leader to defuse it is interesting, but it makes a lot more radicals. I'm okay pushing. Well, here's the thing is, like, I think that we want to keep the landowners as happy as possible in the short term. So for now, we have to be complicit with slavery. But I actually don't want slavery in my country. Not even as, like, just like an ethical being a good guy, but getting people into real jobs and real labor and then giving them the ability to go and purchase clothing and furniture and all this stuff is better for the economy. It pushes our industries up, it supports us, and they'll become more productive. So let's try and let's get away from that as soon as we can, but for now we'll keep the landowners as happy as possible. All right, I'm back. One thing I forgot to mention is that we are improving relationships with basically not our adjacent people other than Egypt, but a whole bunch of other folks, so that when we start a conflict, we don't get other people jumping in to defend the people we declare war against. That's very important for us right now. So we're going to create some happiness. People are already consolidating, so we have to get on that quick. We got to get it on the bandwagon of war. But right now, if I declare on anyone, Wello hates us so much that they're likely to declare war on us just to help the person because they hate us so much. So we want to make sure that we basically go to the war with them first. And to do that, we need to catch up to their military might. They already have some conscription and stuff. We need to get onto that. We're working here, okay? Don't worry. We'll be back. Okay, we finished our first baby steps, okay? We got our logging camp built up. They're making money. They're happy. We got our tool shop made up, and nobody was buying tools. So to stimulate demand for tools, I've gone to our livestock and I've switched them from open open air stockyards to butchering tools. So for 5 tools, we're doubling the meat production, which is going to drive down the cost of meat. But we have a really big problem in our country right now that grain is so gosh darn expensive. So we're going to build a grain mill just to stimulate the economy in terms of creating some happy stuff. And then what we'll do is we're going to start moving towards beefing up our military because we gotta expand as soon as possible. I think I forgot to mention, one of the reasons why we picked this particular country is that a lot of the countries in Ethiopia have 1 or 2 primary cultures that work for them. But we, in this weird place, actually have Tigray, Oromo, and Amhara, which is great. Though I've actually looked around at some of the countries. Oromia is interesting because they only have 1 Ethiopian culture, but they also have Somalian, which can be very helpful as well. But for now, I think that we're in a good spot. Man, wouldn't it be great to be in the Nile? 20 extra infrastructure, agriculture, and plantations. Oh, I'm so jealous. But there's Lake Victoria down here, I guess. Maybe I don't think we'll be able to beat the British, but maybe we can go to Drunka, the malaria town, and be okay with that. Anyways, we'll be back. And just like that, we got steel working. So this was the first technology we're going after. It's also what our technology spread RNG gave us, which is really helpful. So now I can come in here to simple wood production, and I can give them sawmills. Again, it only uses 5 tools. We have 2 levels of sawmill, so 10, and it doubles the amount of wood that we're getting. I don't care if wood hits a floor for price because I'm buying it. The government, right? I want wood to be as cheap as possible so I can build as fast and aggressively as possible, because that is basically our primary way of pushing our GDP up. Right now our GDP is not doing so hot. We're trying to lift it by getting some basic industries off the ground, but it's taking, a lot of pushing, a lot of spending. And now we can go here to our military track and say, no, we don't need that. We need line infantry. Actually, just for the sake of argument, let's start with mandatory service, go to gunsmithing so we can get the gunsmith stuff built up, then get the line infantry. I don't even know. I think you line infantry first and then artillery. we're going all in on military right now. So if we can keep our military arms people happy, that would be great. We're bolstering every group that isn't the landowners to try and break down their power, but I'm not feeling good about it. At least for now, we have honest work. The rural folk are happy. That's giving us some throughput increases. We have some extra authority and influence, which we're using to make people around us happy. You know, actually, I have so much authority. Let's go to it and do a consumption tax on some luxury good, like tobacco and meat. That's not, like, great for a lot of people in the economy, but it's okay. And that way I don't have to put up other taxes and stuff, just to make sure we have a healthy surplus. Because we were slowly taking on, like, eating up our gold reserves. We don't want that. Low organization. Why do you have low organization? Probably because you don't have a commander. Let's give it to the armed forces. Political interest group and infamy decay. Losing that is bad, but this is what it is. And yeah, here we're going to go ahead. I don't know. What do the Hussars need? Like, I don't actually know what their buildings need. What's interesting, though, is in here, right, in our army, we can actually go into their mobilization and see the supplies. Like, we can give them extra supplies, luxuries. We can give them tobacco as a supplement for morale recovery. Liquor. We can give them all these things to make them happier and stronger. Transportation. We can force them to be faster. Reconnaissance. Aerial. Motorized. Like, this is what I'm talking about. There's a lot going on in the game right now, which is interesting, but we are going to militarize our main army. We're not going to rely on peasant levies. We're actually going to build out like a formal professional army because we got a lot of fighting to do. There's no sense demilitarizing, remobilizing, no. We're going to be fighting. And you can see these barracks will build quickly. For the sake of argument, I will build in this army one Hussar. I'm not sure what they need, but by building one, we can see if we want to decommission it or not. So we'll see what happens next. But hopefully, as we can build up this army and recruit those folks, we will... I'm going to watch this manpower, really, because once we have everyone trained up and ready to go, we can push them towards Wello, which we know has about 22 once they mobilize everyone. So we want to be at, like, I don't know, at least 25, 26. I don't know. I don't want to lose in an early war, but here we are. Wow. The good RNG continues. Resource boom in our capital state. So 10% more throughput for 10 years. That's just free production. 10% more logging. It's going to be very helpful for us. Okay, once again, so there's all these little industrialicides. I'm trying to militarize. I'm building a ton of barracks so that we can go to war. And all the while in the background, we've got slavery, small conspiracies. So we could go in and start killing off slaves and making them more radical. That's not great. Or we could use... We could basically make the landowners upset and make the intelligentsia happier. The problem with that is I actually have them just at 10 points, which is like a threshold for us. And at that point, we get plus 20% investment pool contribution, right? So right now, that is insane. That means that aristocrats themselves are funding the construction of like textile mills and other manufacturing facilities. Great for our economy. Actually insanely good. So I'm not willing to upset the landowners just yet. I want them out in the long run. I want them gone. But we're going to have to be radically awful to the people that do the most in our economy. Yeah. So army. Let's just talk about the army. War soon. Speaking of... our industrialization, though, if we look at our market, we can actually see that not only do we have a huge deficit on grain, which is bad, 42% extra expenses on a basic good that everyone needs to buy. Yikes. Fabric is used in construction, so that's bad. But clothing is the most expensive thing, and that's actually what the aristocrats were investing in. It's going to consume more fabric, so I need more fabric, but right now I'm not really willing to produce more cattle farms. I think I'm willing to do another round of grain, though, so we might go ahead and build some of those as well. We are finishing up these barracks pretty quickly. We'll be ready to start the war. While we go to war, our expenses will go up, but we probably will have enough in the tank just to keep building. So, again, war soon. All right, we just got mandatory service, which unlocks the enlistment decree, which is awesome because we have been struggling. What? I need 100 authority. We have been struggling to get enough people recruited into the army. We've had them built up for a while, right? 23 barracks, but getting people in, you can see this unable to hire. We just have not been able to get people into the service, and we're eating up a ton of our food. And because we've industrialized so fast, we don't actually have the infrastructure to support our markets, and I can't run the road maintenance piece. So we're gonna have to deviate again. Even though line infantry is in sight, we need to come over here to society research, and we can either do urban planning, which is 7.5k research points, or centralization, also 7.5. This one here gives us taxation and home affairs. This one here gives us all this infrastructure capacity. The thing is that this gives us infrastructure per 1000k. This unlocks the road maintenance edict, which if you have 100 or whatever authority, it's also +1 per 100k population, but also gives you that 10% bonus. But it has a maximum impact. But we're not in the 20 million people. We are in the less than 1 million people. So we're going to focus on that research first. And I think we have to unify Ethiopia starting now. We have 20. They have 16 plus 6. We just have to, right? Like we are running out of time, as it were. So let's go to war, and we can see if that extra Hazar and maybe using some of those extra like liquor things will help us get over the line. Okay, so I've just mobilized the army, and we're gonna send them to the front line and hope that this general, this imposing brigadier general, is able to just do what he's got to do, man. This is going to come down to a couple of dice rolls, and we got to make sure that right now nobody is leaning into them in terms of helping give them support. We might even be able to sway a country, it says. Sway with obligations. Who is Tigray would be willing to help us? I don't know. Let's watch and see what happens here. We have a little bit of time as this progresses. Right now, he's at 16 dudes, right? Like, but he can conscript. He has conscription. All right, let's offer an obligation to our going to be rivals soon. But this will help us absolutely win this war. And we basically just told him, once you jump in a war, we'll help you too. But hopefully he forgets about that, because we have things to do. So the war's about to break out. It just did. It's our 15 and 20 versus theirs. We're all pushing the same front. It should be. Right? 1 second. Let's see. This seems like the front. And yeah, my army's there and the Tigray army's there. We're mobilized. They're mobilized. We have 35 armies versus their 17. So we're pushing. And there we go. We jumped into a battle. This is Wello. We have a leader from Tigray right now. We're using the military tactic of being exhausted, which means that we're going to have more morale loss. So people are going to run away. 12 offense versus 12 defense, but we have the numbers advantage. So you can see here, we might be demoralized faster than them. 1,000 of us have run away versus 500, but we're killing just as many and wounding just as many as well. And we have more and more men. So they're losing morale. And there's 2 bars here. One is their morale. The other is their manpower. So we're literally killing their soldiers. So this was a big battle, right? They lost 900. We lost 700. But these demoralized folks, right? We lost twice as many. They're going to come back for the next round, right? So basically, we've killed a lot of their army. That's going to make them less effective at winning. And now we're into the next battle. Boom, boom, boom. We're pursuing. We're killing, right? And they're going to run out of manpower first. This is like a kind of crummy way of going about it, but it is what it is. Can we see the military fighting? We can see like barricades and stuff. So pew, pew, pew. Okay, there it is. Yeah, if you zoom in far enough. See? Oh, yeah. There we go. An actual war. So it looks like we're winning all these individual battles. And just like that, it says that Wello conquered the land. Like, or that Tigray conquered it, right? This is not our flag. This is the Tigray flag. But it's our war to conquer it. So we should get it. I wonder, yeah, let's let this go. Let's go back to our country. What do we need next? If I look in here, we need more grain, we need more furniture. We have too much wood, but that's only because we're not constructing anything. Our economy is geared towards having construction always happening. I think it's fair. I want grain to be as cheap as possible. I want people to have a good quality of life, and they will not have that if they spend their whole life waiting for grain. And then in industry, I think that we need furniture, right? That was what they said. Furniture is the next highest thing. There's twice as many buy orders as there are sell orders, so this is trending towards 75%. Just to be clear, no capitalists have built that yet. They built a clothing factory, but everything's so expensive right now, like that all my industry is struggling except the logging camp and these. But still, it's going to be better in the end. Where's furniture? Oh, there it is. Lots of things to build. All right, so we did annex, and that's actually bringing a lot of things into the fold as well. So we just got all these additional plantations and stuff. We also got more population. So now I think we're still over on infrastructure by the same amount, but we need more. And actually, we're losing out on almost 8%, 7.3% of taxes because we just don't have the technology to tax people. So it's good that we've gone after centralization early. But again, I don't want to have to rely on allies in the future. So let's just make sure that that doesn't happen again. And actually, let's take a moment here and look at our diplomacy. Everyone here loves us, basically. We've been spending a lot of time improving relations. I don't want to go too far because then you can't declare war on them. But we're going to do Great Britain as well because I'm sure that Great Britain in no time is going to start colonizing nearby, and I do not need them jumping in on wars to beat us up. So lovely for us. What does it say we're building? Oh yeah, millet farm. So let's see what this does to our economies here. Our clothing and stuff is fine. Our grain is actually even now, but I can make it cheaper. That's fine. But yeah, they brought us a ton of fabric that evened out our economy. I can even turn off this. So basically the only things that are expensive are the furniture that we're going to be building soon and all of the luxuries like the fruit and whatnot. But we don't have many rich people yet buying it, so it doesn't make sense to develop an economy for anything other than maybe fancy clothing. And even then, it's better just to sell to the poor. So good for us. Monument of the Prince. Oh, lovely. So a monument for the prince. We can get extra prestige and make people more upset. I mean, I don't know that I care about prestige that much. I don't actually know what prestige does for me. Like I legitimately, I'm like, what does prestige do? Like I don't really, like it's not like I need literacy. I need GDP. Look at the GDP growth from taking over another country, right? I don't need prestige. What I need to do is Not everyone wishes to be reminded of the prince. Even though we just won, we'll remind them once he's king. So let's look around. This guy here has 2 battalions. Harar has 20 plus 13, 26 plus 13, 20 plus 8, and then 15.7. I would love to go after Tigray next, but we owe them an obligation. So I don't actually know how that works for us, but it's probably like you can't declare war on them. Whereas let's click on our own. We're just at plus 20. We took over some new stuff though, did we not? Like if I go to barracks, yeah, we're up to the maximum of 25. It didn't let us go over that. But like our employment is so low because people died in that war. So anyways, we need to recover from that war, get more people into the army, and the recruiting will happen. It's like it comes and it goes, but now that the wheat is cheaper, it's better. Everything's good. We'll make it work. And then in the future we'll have to decommission some things and build new ones, but it is what it is. Let's get our infrastructure sorted out, and I'll be right back. All right, hello and welcome. This is what it looks like other places of the world. Russia is fighting with their line infantry pretty heavily against the Ottomans. So you can see the line of war, pew pew pew, they have cannons and whatnot. And the reason I was looking over here in the world at this conflict that's happening, right? Prussia is also fighting, Austria's also fighting, so lots of industrial armies kicking the crap out of each other. But I looked up because I saw Egypt had already been hit back in terms of the Ottoman Empire growing. So that's interesting. The other thing is we've righted our economy in a lot of ways. Like we've really decreased the number of radicals in our country over the last little while. We've been increasing our standard of living. We've been increasing our education. Our GDP has faltered and come back a couple times. The biggest swings come from some of these political groups right now for us that really changed some of the efficiency. But what's happened politically for us is that Harar has decided that it hates us, and I need to keep growing to catch up. So, you know, these people have a bunch of things going on. There's only so much I can do with that. I think the best thing to try for is Asa over here is very, very weak. I should try and declare war here. If Harar jumps in, maybe we can convince Shiwa to fight Harar with us. Or maybe not. But at least then it'll only be 2 additional battalions against the additional 20-something coming from Harar. The thing is, with our military, it's still slowly growing. And what I've been trying to do with this army is incorporate more and more Hazars. But it's just taking time to recruit. And it's time that we don't really have, which is what is spooking me. Maybe, can I do conscription battalions? I can. We should make sure that we do that as well. Also, I did get the technology that we needed. We are working on line infantry now, but we got the society technology of centralization, which allowed me to dramatically increase the amount of A, taxation, and B, infrastructure. Though I need more infrastructure. So, quite frankly, after getting line infantry, we have to come back for urban planning to get even more infrastructure, and then we can go after artillery. Like, it's the way this country runs versus my test game. It's been way more infrastructure way earlier in terms of needs, so that's fine. We have a lot of industry starting up. If you just want to know, remember before we had 2 logging camps and a single tool shop. Now we've got furniture, we've got textiles, we're building food industries, paper mills, we've got all kinds of different plantations and ranches, we have all these barracks, we're going to be working on conscription centers soon. It's good, it's good. So let's, like I said, unify Ethiopia. It right now doesn't look like anybody's going to be joining, but we'll watch this and see if anybody ends up leaning to their side in terms of support. But right now it looks like this might be a simple us versus them. Let's go grab our army number 1 and we'll assign it to the front line. Great. It's not going to be as dramatic as the war we just went and looked at a second ago, but it is what it is. So Asa, I'm watching you, Harar. I'm expecting Harar. It's this one here to think about hating me. Maybe they hate both of us though. and people are leaving the conflict, and yeah, we are good. It's just going to be a nice one-to-one quick little grab of some land, and well, I mean, may as well keep playing it out here. We can see it. If I hit the war mode, should be able to click here to arms. Coming in, and are we already in a battle? We are. As soon as the war started, boom, we have our 10,000 men versus their 1,000. So that's not going to go well for them. They have a little bit more defense, but it was a successful attack. We took some land. The front lines have moved forward ever so slightly, and already I think we've taken over their whole country. Good for us. So that's conquered, and they'll surrender soon, and I'll let you know once we've annexed it. Alrighty, so we've annexed the other land. I've clicked on it. I've started incorporating this state because there's Bejimer, and then there's actually a little state here, Eritrea. And Eritrea is tiny. It only has a, infrastructure that can go to 4. It has very few people, 30,000 people living in this spot, but it is critical for us. And that is because, unlike our home province, yeah, we can do some fishing here. Great. We'll get a little bit of fish on the market. But iron mines exist, and we can buy the iron mine, and what that will do is, it doesn't seem like it does anything immediately for us, but in the tool shop we could go from crude tools to wrought iron tools, doubling our output overnight. So that's going to make tools even cheaper. It's going to create an iron industry, which, who knows, in the future we might turn into a steel industry. We have lots of options for us, and that's just going to make us more and more productive. Again, that GDP line going up, going higher. Conquering countries certainly does help. But this is a very small country, so that doesn't really count. And these people love me. I don't really want to declare war on them. Maybe we can go after Gojam next. Again, now I'm like, who's strong? 20 plus 9 versus our 20 plus 5. I mean, we shouldn't win, but I don't know. You know what we just recently discovered? I'm pretty sure. Where is it? Technologies. Yeah, we're just about to get line infantry, which, I mean, would be much stronger. Just for the sake of argument, I think that standard irregulars are 10 attack and 10 defense, whereas line infantry are 15 attack and 25 defense. So it's like massive. Once everyone has line infantry, it's going to be harder and harder to push. So we need to be the first adopters, and we need to unify Ethiopia. So a few things here. We just got our line infantry, so we can now come in here. We have general training. It's going to make things more expensive, but we can train up our troops faster. And then if we go into the barracks itself, we can choose line infantry. So it's not 15 and 25, it's 20 and 25, but we need small arms. So for now, we're still going to make the transition. We're going to get some line infantry. I don't want to build it in Eritrea. So what I'm going to have to do is decommission. Do I have to click irregular? Yeah. Decommission another irregular and start purchasing a line, right? And that's going to allow us to transfer to a much stronger. I mean, we've been trying to use some cavalry here, which, again, the hussars are more expensive, but they're 15 and 15 as opposed to 10 and 10. But now transferring to line infantry, oh baby, we're coming in. So once we've started making that transition a bit, it'll be way easier to go after other folks. I'm wondering though, do we declare war here? What's getting tricky is that we're going from all these Orthodox countries to the Sunni countries. So I'm wondering if they're more likely to band together. But it's really just Harar in the center. Everyone on the side is quite weak. Shiwa really likes us. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and get that barracks. I'm probably going to put it straight to the top of the queue, and we'll see what we can do with it. Alright, stopping in because we've just built our first university to go along with that paper mill that the industrialists built. So we are getting a little bit of education going. We've got our line infantry starting to kind of train up, but they don't have any small arms, which is a big doo-doo for us right now. But we're starting to grow, or trying to at least grow, the iron industry. And we're doing that by making wrought iron tools. which is good. The more that we need tools, the better. And, you know, we're using those tools in the sawmill, in it with our butchers. So, like, things are going well overall. We are spreading out our production. But you can see now paper's crazy. People are expecting a higher standard of living. One good thing is that we have a lot of cash reserves, which means that I've been able to turn down the taxation to make people a little bit happier over time. You can see our loyalists and stuff is trending together ever so slightly. But hey, I mean, since 1836, it's been about 12 years in the game, and we still haven't grown that much. There's a lot of people that are upset with us in this area as well, which is leading to a bunch of turmoil. So I'm going in and violently suppressing them. Yeah, sorry about that. What I'm going to do, actually, let's go and find one of these political interest groups. Like the intelligentsia, I do like them. Oh, I've already stopped bolstering them. Who else do I like? I like the rural folk. I'm going to stop bolstering the Orthodox Church, and that'll free up enough for me to promote social mobility. Let's try and get these people out of being peasants, basically. And let's also promote our culture to try and, because they hate us, all right? They really hate us. We are not Afar, we're not Somali. We do have some Tigray, but they are also Sunni, and they're impoverished, and they're starving, and they're very upset with me for that. So let's get them real jobs, and then they won't be starving so much, basically, is what I'm hoping for. Because why are your jobs doing so poorly? Because I'm not using enough iron, probably. But I don't have a way of using more iron. I can't make a steel mill because I would need coal for that, and we don't have it yet. We could make a tooling workshop here, but then they need to import wood, and I don't think wood is going to work out that well for them. So we're just going to try and suppress them violently, make them take up our religion, and give them some better education while we're at it. Give and take, I guess. So either way, that's moving forward, but the biggest thing is that we're industrializing. We just got a second technology for some infrastructure capacity, so that is staying, like, we're staying ahead of it there. And I mean, that's reflected in the GDP. Like, we are growing even without conquering nations, but we need to get small arms built, and to do that we need to get this military gunsmithing technology. It looks like the tech spread is giving us army reserves. That's really not that great for us. At least it's not naval stuff. And then over here, I'd really love intensive agriculture, but I guess we're going to get some basics first. The cotton gin and the distillations. And then what are they giving us in society for free? The tech spread. I really want modern sewage for more infrastructure, but that's like a super high level thing. We want colonialization soon. Turns out they're giving us democracy, which is new voting laws. Cool. I just don't see us using any of that because our country is so traditionalist. So we'll see what we can do. But again, we're trying to gear up for a war, and some people hate us, particularly Harar. They are rank 66 overall in terms of being a great power. We are rank 131, so we have some work to do. But I think that I think we can look at their buildings, right? We can say, hey, what do you have down here? You've got 17 barracks, mostly regular infantry. Is there a way for us to say, hey, like, that's only 17 battalions, and then down here it looks like you've got another barracks. It's all irregular infantry. So for me, right, if we look at our buildings and we go down to our 25 dudes, we have a shortage of small arms. That's bad. I'm not sure how much that impacts this line infantry. I wish I could see their combat effectiveness. Is it halving it? Is it going less than that? Right? But we do have more hussars, and we do have more training, and we actually are almost at the level of servicemen, but we do need more officers to be hired. So we're working on it. It's just taking time. But a lot of people around the world like us. There's a lot of conflict in the world. But I think if we can take out Harar, then I can just go on an invasion spree. With Harar gone, boom, boom, boom. Gojam. Well, you know, actually, Gojam. Let's look at Gojam right now. 20 plus 11. I mean, they're equally as high, and Harar could jump in. We need to get Harar out of the game, and then I think we're just good. Like, we're going to get all of their industry, all of their stuff. We need to rise as the Ethiopian prince, so I'll be back. Okay, change of plan. We're going to go to military. We're going to look at our army. We're going to take conscription battalions, and we're going to max it out. Right, we have a conscription limit. In fact, we're getting this technology spread here in military. I think that as soon as we get this technology, in fact, I might click it, we're going to increase the number of conscriptable battalions we can. We're going to max it out, and we're going to go to Harar. We're going to call all our people out of the farms, and we're going to say, to war, okay? And then with Harar gone, we can demilitarize those folks, use our professional army, and just knock off everyone else. By then, we should have better weapons and all the other stuff. So that's the plan. Right now, just by increasing our willingness to conscript, we can click Harar. They have 22 plus 15, and we can click ourselves. We have 24 plus 17. So we should be strong enough, but with that tech around the corner, in fact, if I click on it, it's basically 4 months away, 3 to 4 months away. That's going to be great. Violence is escalating in Eritrea. Give the police free reign. No. Let them riot. Give the police free reign. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is a lot of turmoil, okay? I don't know if the turmoil is going up or down. It doesn't give me like a timeline of it. But we're violently suppressing them and pushing them to, you know, be more religious in my way. Can I see any of these cultures over time? Is there a way of looking? Like, I can see the pop growth, right? But they don't give us some cool graphs for like other stuff. It's really too bad. It's really too bad. You're all hired out though, right? So there's 4,000 people employed here. It says that there's no peasants. No peasants. So yeah, we've pretty much worked these people as far as we can, and they're only dying from here. In fact, I wonder, is our population increasing or decreasing? It is increasing. Okay, well, that's good enough. We have a lot of people over here on the political side very happy with how we're running the country, which means we must be doing a great job. So I'll see you in the next one when we get this tech in 7 days. We got it. So now we're working on the gunsmithing. We're going to go into the army. And I'm going to say, get some more of these. You don't have to actually build them because you have to mobilize when the time comes. And just like that, if we click on ourselves, we're 25 plus 20 versus 22 plus 15. I think it's time to unify Ethiopia. We're going to get a ton of infamy. Great Britain and a bunch of other countries could join. No one's on the fence right now, but we need to go to military, militarize all armies. And then where can I tell them? Where do I actually call for conscription? Does that just take a while? Or am I doing something wrong? One sec, I'll be back. Okay, well, I'm not able to figure out how to conscript. I just can't seem to. In the military with the new patch, I just, you know, it's talking about a whole bunch of things. Zero raised out of 20 potential conscription battalions. I go to the army. You know, it's got not raised yet. Oh, there. Jeez. It would have been great to click this button maybe 10 million years ago. Yeah, okay. So that's going to raise the conscripts and hopefully give us an edge. I've set my army to defend in case it makes a difference. We'll see in this first battle how that goes. It looks like somehow we've ended up with way more men on the front. Oh, their army with 3 units decided to start a battle without the rest of their army. So right now we've lost like 60 guys and killed like 400. And we have a ton of defense. Wow. So that was a huge win for us. We lost 100 men, killed like 600, demoralized them greatly. Now over here, it looks like they're attacking, and I don't have a commander because my commander was busy in the other battle. Ah, I see. They're kind of splitting my forces up. Well, let's make sure we go to the military and say, hey guys, why don't you get another traditional commander, meticulous, mountain expert. So maybe he will be able to, again, just defend the front for now. It looks like they're attacking again over here, but we're camouflage defending. Our defense is higher than their attack, and we are going to whittle them down. It's going to just take a moment, basically. Meanwhile, we're getting reinforcements from getting our battalions up and going. We also have a university now. So, political strength of academics, empirism, medical decrees. So we can get, how much is this? 5 years of throughput at the university. This is a distraction from the war. I apologize. But my technology is very important to me. So you are producing 3 innovation. Okay? 3 innovation. Innovation is applied weekly. Okay. So 3 innovation weekly. How long does that take to get to something like meaningful? Like if I was to take a calculator and say 2,500 research points, which I'm being offered, divided by 3 is 800 something, divided by 52 weeks in a year, that's 16 years worth of production. So unless I get a bunch more universities, and I mean a bunch, I should take 2,500 research points towards one of these 2 things. Empirism, I think these are over here. I can basically choose medical degrees or empirism. This is influence and wealth education access is not that bad, actually. Church and state, I don't care. Public schools, okay. I'm going to take empirism. I mean, medical degrees is great. Charity hospitals is actually a law I'm super into in terms of growing my population. But growing my education, I feel, is stronger. So I'm going to modern solutions this. Modern solutions. So this battle here, are we going to lose because we're running out of morale or men? I mean, despite this being a loss, we've almost killed as many as we lost. So I'm hoping that as we recruit people, that gets better. And we are doing good killing in terms of the other battles. So, not bad. Can I see the front lines? Okay, the front lines haven't really moved. Again, mostly irregulars, a little bit of line infantry. They're advancing somewhat. Here they came in. Surprise maneuver versus lost. They started the battle with 8,000 to my 5,000. But we are absolutely hammering back despite being outnumbered at the start of this battle. It looks like we're going to win it. Ooh, but then we got a panic retreat. Oh, boys. We have to get this army stuff together. So you got pursuit, and that probably helped them get a couple extra kills there at the end. It looks like, yeah, it looks like he's conquered some land. But now we're 16 against 1. It's just that this, like, army of 3 is doing a great job splitting up my army, basically. So we look at our army. I mean, we need more manpower. One sec. Let's go to decrees and see. Are we running? We aren't running enlistment. So national values and violent suppression, not nearly as important as recruit and train. We need more men. We can't let them bleed us dry. Is there another battle? Looks like another battle over here. Again, looks like we're winning. Pretty good odds. We lost 200, killed 600. But then while that was happening, they No, I mean, they're going to lose another battle against us. This defending strategy is working. It looks like they are very low on manpower as well. This might be the moment, right? Especially with our reserves kicking in. Let's tell these folks, advance the front. There's an opportunity now. 20 against 20, yeah, on our terms. He's doing a surprise maneuver versus our lost, but we have more men right now, so we're just winning through weight. And our 13 offense from our superior technology is playing in. We also gave our boys extra rations and alcohol and tobacco, and oh my god, this is like a blitz all of a sudden. Their front line basically collapsed because they ran out of men. Now we're like, again, another battle, 5,000 versus 2,000, right? Like, they just don't have it. Another 1,000 men defending against 4,000, and we are continuing the battle. We've now taken over their capital state. Yeah, basically they just exhausted themselves as we were mobilizing our reserves, and now we have a moment here to break through, and we've separated and split them off. Oh my god, this is just great. If I even just turn off this map mode and just zoom in, like, you can see them defending as much as they can. We've got some people breaking through and like just conquering land, it looks like, but it's not really a big fight back here. It's really just this portion here. Like, we've got them surrounded, men are shooting either way, but we're conquering, and there you go. It should be all mine. What a battle. What a battle. Both sides lost about 15,000, which is like a whole army's worth of men. But you know, I am now massive. We are now massive. I don't know how much I've recorded for this first episode, but I am going to wrap it up here. We are halfway to becoming a prince, or moving from being a prince to forming the country of Ethiopia. We just need to conquer enough of Ethiopia to create reunification, and then we need Somalia so that we can get enough steel, because Eritrea just does not have enough people in it, not enough people to send to the mines. But I'm looking forward to it. We're basically about to start building up a small arms industry, and that's going to allow us to transition to being even stronger, and we can probably push from there. I want imperialism, but I also really, really want colonialism, because now that we have a border with uncolonized areas, I think that becomes a massive priority. That was a bad cough. I'm so sorry. Colonialism and then imperialism. Actually, this comes with education. Let's do the imperialism first. I'll be patient. But yeah, education in our country has skyrocketed. And now our gross domestic product has gone way up. Our population has basically doubled. And yeah, we're going to see what that does. We have a lot of people that hate us. That's for sure. And we have some states here that we need to incorporate, which is going to take some bureaucracy from us. And those states have a lot of turmoil. But more opportunities for logging camps. He didn't even build logging camps. How has he been industrializing at all without a logging camp? Man, that's wild. So, also, I'm going to turn off these decrees, and let's promote national values and violently suppress them. I might have to stop encouraging this industry. And I mean, I don't know, assimilation. We should be able to assimilate. Like, this population here is not that high. It's only 35,000, and it's going down. Are we not able? Like, Tigray is, I guess, getting larger at this point. They're getting larger. A lot of industrialists here, laborers. Is this place still in turmoil? Probably because they're starving, though, not because they don't believe in our religion. Oh, I don't know. Even our capital state could use this, apparently. What's going on here for our population? we have this 5% that, like, I'm pretty sure these are two cultures that we accept. And then religion, yeah, I'm not too worried about it here. Let's put it all the way down there. See if we can convert some people to our culture. Maybe push Oromo as opposed to Somalian. Anyways, that has been epic for us. I am so pleased with this first push here, and I want to become Ethiopia. I love clicking the button. I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.